Angry Pony Newscript here, and today I'm going to be doing a director's commentary to the 6th episode of The Demon's Daughter titled Despair. Oh boy, this was definitely a huge one to work on. The script for this was actually finished and wrapped up sometime last year, I think, when the production of episode 4 was happening. And oh my gosh, so much stuff is revealed in this episode, but I think the main thing I wanted to focus on with this episode was where Tenebrae truly came from. There was a lot of stuff leading up to this specific episode. Everyone's theories, I guess, were correct. Some people were speculating, oh hey, is the screaming filly like Tenebrae or something? And I'm like, you may be on the right path there. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk in this intro for much longer. We're gonna get into the commentary in 3, 2, 1, and play. This episode will contain some scary scenes. Viewers' discretion is the only reason why I put that there is because one of the scenes in this episode, I guess would be pretty scary. I'll point it out when it comes up. But we've got the we've got different music, and the music here is titled "Recover What You Have Lost," and I make good use of the reversed piano sounds. And I actually had this soundtrack play in the teaser trailer for episode 6 as well. So I usually, if I have any new soundtracks, they usually make their first debut in the trailers. There was quite a bit to unpack in the last episode too. Because, that's when she met Hexa properly.
Back to their true forms.
But Rainbow isn't like the others. She never was a villain.
And I drew so much art for that last episode, but I drew even more for this episode, and I will point those out when it comes up.
Over the terms and conditions.
And you know it's serious when I don't play the intro. Yeah, usually the penultimate episode of a series starts not having the intro because it's more serious and I just want to get back into the swing of things. Alright, so this first scene is done by Pink Escapade. It was one of the scenes that Pink Escapade had done, but they couldn't really finish it properly, which you'll see in a sec. But you can understand why. Actually, this scene was originally supposed to be done by Aragona. Let's see, Aragona did some art for episode 5. I think it was like the second part of the banquet scene. But then Aragona dropped out, and so I was like, hey, so can anyone take over scene 1? And Pink was like, me. But of course they couldn't really finish it, so then I'm here finishing off the rest of the scene. And this scene was also the second sneak peek that happened like 10 days before the episode. And I'm like, yeah, all of the shipping fuel. Shipping fuel with 2 characters that are voiced by me.
Having a crush is lame or something like that.
This scene was absolutely heartbreaking.
Why do you of all ponies have a crush on me?
Because remember that one scene in episode 6 of The Color Goddess where Nisty was like having a nightmare about Rainbow Dash saying all the terrible things that she had done?
I'm sorry.
And then you just want to give Nisty a hug. And then the grand return of Tenebrae.
Oh no, you're not real.
Have I mentioned how much I absolutely love voicing Tenebrae? She's just such a fun villain to voice. After 7 years, I will never stop voicing Tenebrae. But I also have a lot of fun voicing Nisty, especially in the more vulnerable and emotional sections. And then we have the symbol of despair. Everyone, go! Theorize away! Although actually you don't really need to theorize away, because the reason for that was like... I don't know. Alright, so now we have the second scene that I have worked on. Second out of... You know what, I don't even know how many scenes I worked on this episode. Quite a lot. Didn't really keep track of all of them. Like maybe, I don't know, 13, 12.
What is our brother trying to accomplish? What will reviving his apprentices achieve?
King Sephiros has been infected.
No! Then that means...
He's successfully recovered all 7 of his components.
I'm not sure what to say here. I'll wait for more of the dialogue to speak up.
We never understood the motives of our brother because of how different his beliefs
Oh
were.
yeah, I guess I can mention the comic, Fourth Darkness of Free Lights. There's only one more page left to be put out by the time of this recording. And the dub is actually going to be coming out really soon.
But sisters, that isn't true! We've been
Okay,
No,
so I wanted to
must never
point
do
out
If
that
we go down there, Nistverse
Lumina
will
was the
fade
one that
into
actually
it,
said
and
to
our efforts
Nisty
will be for
that
nothing.
the goddesses couldn't go down there because it was too treacherous. So why is she also the one arguing against that fact? I think my theory for that is because
Hexar doesn't know.
I guess it was just a given.
Matter if we go
Like,
down there,
they
huh?
didn't know that Hexar was going to recruit everyone else. They thought it was that he was just going to recruit Rainbow Dash and that was it. But now that he's recruited everyone, she's like, no, we need to do something. So that kind of explains that little loophole for you. But now thinking back, maybe I should have had Satada say that it was too treacherous for the goddesses to go down instead of Lumina. I don't know. But it's too late now. Anyway, I've been talking about that too long, and I'm not talking about this. This was what the other sneak peek, the first one, which of course. Did I take this scene over from anyone? I think so, but I don't really remember. But yeah, this is scene numero 3, the third scene that I did. And I think I did up to that at first, and I didn't actually do the rest of this particular scene until much later.
Let's discuss.
And then this is like Hexar's kind of office, you should say. Although this is the first time we kind of see it properly. He's got this mirror that he looks at. And that'll play a pivotal part in the episode itself.
Simple? Yeah, right. There's a catch.
And also, quite a few people were also theorizing what Hexar's terms and conditions would be. I also especially liked Mr. MLP saying that Misty had to be Tenebrae. I mean, he's not too far off, honestly.
Inside your friend, someone else needs to keep it in her place.
No, I won't let anyone else sacrifice themselves.
Also, can I mention how much I absolutely
Would take components.
love Hexar?
There's one
I mean, like, writing his motives and stuff. Trying to make him, like, you know,
That's what I've
the
been
most
doing
irredeemable villain I could think of. My favorite type of villain, in my personal opinion, are the ones that they think they're kind of doing what's best for everyone, but they've just been so absorbed in that they don't really take into account that what they're actually doing is morally incorrect or wrong. A couple of examples: Bellows from the Owl House. He wants to get rid of all the witches, you know, because he's a witch hunter, because he thinks that's the right thing to be doing. I mean, you know, back in those days, yeah, people got rid of witches all the time. And then another example is Bondrude from Main Abyss. And he does a lot of really messed up stuff. in the name of science.
Apprentices made.
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's not cool what he does. He really does some messed up stuff. Bondru does.
To a deep sleep and got sent back to
Right, anyway, this art is done by That's Lovely, and he does an awesome job with this scene, especially one particular thing in particular that I will point out, and the amulet is actually designed by one of the newer artists, Sophia May, and that amulet has quite a bit of a story to tell, but I will get more into that when the episode goes in a bit more.
faster. But why would I tell them?
So, the villains of Equestria were only charging?
He's truly diabolical, figuring out a way to have all 7 of his apprentices have his components, and then he's still able to stay conscious. And of course he couldn't. Why would he tell his sisters about it? Yeah.
And if I attempted to, they would just magnetize the next being willing to take them.
You're lying! You just want to torture your apprentices more!
No, I'm afraid I'm telling you the 100% truth. However, if you want Luna, Discord, King Sephiroth, and Rainbow Dash saved, it's
Alright guys, this is the first bit of animation in the episode.
all for
And I was genuinely impressed with what That's Lovely did. And of course, I put that in the trailer to hype everyone up. Alright, now this art right here is done by Moonshine Canvas. And I edited the 2 panels using the layering editing in Coral. And I mention this every single time, but I absolutely adore Moonshine Canvas's art style. It's just so adorable. And it's also quite heartbreaking because, look at Nisty. She knows she knows that she won't get a happy ending, but you know, she is definitely the type that would just sacrifice herself for the sake of others. She's that kind of pony.
What happens to you? You love Rainbow Dash, right? And she probably loves you just as much.
Definitely. Yeah, that's correct.
Never see her or your sisters again. Is that what you really want?
Yeet. And then Liaka gets put in a cell.
Don't worry. I can get myself out somehow. Come on!
no use escaping, Your Majesty. I've used the same enchantment used to capture my sisters before they
That is a nice callback, by the way, which would make sense, because Hexar did give Sephiroth his powers of greed, so, you know, his powers are Hexar's powers, and so on and so forth.
time you were down here.
Last time? But I've told you before, we've never met.
So yeah, in episode 5, he looked disappointed that Nisty was like, "Oh, we've never met before."
You really have forgotten.
Forgotten what?
I should have known something was wrong when you acted like we never met. They erased your memory.
Someone erased my memory?
I know about the dreams you keep having.
And then we've got all the flashbacks from Marianne Studios, Fabled Explorer, and P2 MLP's Adventure. All the moments leading up to this one, where it was just foreshadowing the filly screaming and what it could mean. And that little effect was done by me.
Me? Philly is me.
Don don don! Plot twist. Nah, I'm kidding. As I said, a couple of people might have figured that out.
You're forgotten.
But I didn't want to make it too obvious, if you know what I mean. Now we jump into the flashback.
That's it, sweetie.
This art is done by one of the new artists, Kara Pop Studios. And we also have Philly Tenebrae, Teen Celestia, and Philly Luna. And we have the grand return of Queen Aurora and King Hesperus. And they appeared briefly in the second episode of The Demon's Daughter, but like they didn't have any speaking lines. But their first major appearance was the TCG Christmas special. And I was so happy that Pretty Pegasus Wings and Lightning Spirit Vae, who played those two characters respectively, got to reprise their roles. Lightning Spirit VA especially was very happy about reprising her role as King Hesperus, and came up with quite a bit of improvising material. Hence, the most recent T-Rex Ramblings also features King Hesperus.
Oh, that's wonderful, dear.
We're so proud of you.
Sun and moon, together.
And now we're about to get into the first song of the episode. Now, the melody for this song is pretty much the melody from the Screaming Filly, but like in a major key. And the last time that I sung as Philly Tenebrae was, back in the TCG Christmas special, and there was the song The Part I Play. Although that one was a bit more upbeat with a little more holiday Christmassy spirit. But this one is a bit more, it's a bit more soft, it's a bit slower, it's a bit more of a ballad. Okay, that line. Let me explain the line choice. So, it's pretty much canon at this point that when Tenebrae was a filly, if she would try to rhyme something, she would come up, or she would kind of struggle to rhyme things sometimes. So I guess she was just trying to think of how to, get the pattern continuing. Something that rhymes with place, and then the other question word. It was the same with the other song that she sang, where she was like, then there's my mother, busy helping ponies, busy in the kitchen, keeping away the filthy mouses instead of mice. And I also forgot to mention the stained glass window. And I pretty much took reference of the first episode of MLPFIM, where we kind of had the stained glass image versions of the sisters. And I based it off that. Yeah, the only stained glass windows that Tenebrae would have would pretty much be of her, like, trying to take over Equestria, which is kind of sad. And then speaking of The Part I Play, this whole bridge is a slower version of that, of that melody. And then we have 4 stars, the blue one being Luna, the purple one being Hesperus, the pink one being Aurora, and the yellow one being Celestia. And this is the moment, because we've got this kind of slower reprise of this earlier song, it just makes it even more tragic in a way. And Tenebrae deserves a star. And then we come to we're coming up to my favorite bit of the song. But first we have images from the TCG Christmas special. Except for that one. That was a Mother's Day image. I think I drew back in 2021? I think so. Yeah, I think it was 2021 I did that image. We had all the good images with the family members, and now we have all the bad images. And this is my favorite bit of the song. I've been, since Your Pain Is Mine, I decided to do a bit more kind of stop motion-y kind of animation there. So, yeah, this is pretty much all stop motion in a way, and then just putting the frames over and over again in Coral and then exporting it and then putting it again in Coral for the zoom. Because if I put in the zoom and the images at the same time, it would take a while to replace and it would just be tedious. Do I have no purpose at all? That is just such a tragic line to end on, don't you think?
I love my family, but I feel like I don't belong with them. I can't raise the sun or moon. What am I good for?
And this despair brings out the attention of the demon down below.
You are ready, my child.
Huh? Who said that?
Come with me, my daughter.
And there's the scream that Misty would dream about over and over again.
Tenebrae, are you alright? Tenebrae!
And Flutterose.
Where are you?
Flutterose keeps saying Tenebrae's name wrong. I mean, you could just hear it. She says Tentebree. There is not another T. But as you saw in the bloopers, she wasn't the only one that pronounced Tenebree's name wrong. I mean, from now on, I'm gonna be putting her name in, like, phonetics. So she will no longer be called Tenebris from now on. Right, anyways, I'm going off topic. This next scene is drawn by Pink Escapade. This is Pink Escapade's second scene, and they were actually able to finish this one. And this is the first of the film soundtracks for episode 6. It was after the audio was edited that I worked on this soundtrack. And it's called I'm Your Real Family. And I dug out the organ for a minor version of the theme. And organ jump scare. For those who have watched Lighter Shade of Crimson, I also did an organ jump scare, but with episode 1 of that audio drama.
But don't you see? I already have.
No, you haven't. You're just a creepy stranger who has kidnapped me.
First impressions are important, and their first impression was not the best. Alright, now this art is done by Zoe and Guys. And as usual, she was one of the first artists to complete their scene. But,
Look, I wasn't lying.
usually when it comes to sneak peeks, I try and pick scenes that aren't really that spoiler worthy. So this one wouldn't have worked as a sneak peek. And then this part of the song is a music box version of the main theme, and it's all major. And I think this is like one of my favorite parts of the soundtrack, actually. It's just very pretty. And it's also in my favorite major key. Yeah, that's right. I have a favorite key signature, everyone. Anything that is in 3 sharps, I absolutely love. So, for those of you who are not music geeks, or like music theory geeks, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. What does 3 sharps mean? Well,
Because
I don't know how to explain it to those non-music folks.
I'm the god of Nevequestria, and you, Tenebrae, are my daughter.
And I also like how soft-spoken Hexa is,
With all my elements,
because
my child.
in the previous episodes he was just really threatening,
Your
I guess.
destiny is to live
But
out
this
your
is probably one of the only exceptions where he's actually
teach you
soft.
Control your unique magic that you have inside of you.
Unique magic? I always thought I was only good enough to do levitation at best.
You're far stronger than you realize. Live with me long enough, then I will teach you how to work your powers properly.
This is amazing! Wait till I tell my family!
And then we get into the second song of episode 6.
Immersed in its environment and your power.
Although it kind of builds up first before we actually get into the singing.
You're like the teacher.
And here we have the second song, which is pretty much the reprise of What Is My Happiness. And this is... Actually, it's not the first one where I've recorded the song with this mic. The first song was Carry a Burden. But the previous song, What Is My Happiness, I didn't actually record that with my new mic because I don't think I had my new mic yet by that point. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I did have my new mic by that point. And it's also the second song that Equestria Exploration sings as Hexa. And it won't be the last.
Yes, you do.
This is when things start to get a bit more menacing. And quite the turnaround, isn't it?
If you've seen our sister, please let us
And then
know.
this scene is done by P2's MLP Adventure.
Miss her.
And I think this specific image was featured in the trailer. Yeah, pretty much.
Where could she have gone?
Don't worry, my dear. We'll find her. We'll track down who took her soon enough.
But we searched every house in the kingdom. And nothing.
She's strong. She should be fine.
And you'll never see their cutie marks. Oh dear.
Ran away. Did she?
And then let's introduce the old stallion. And this character is played by Raptamon132. And other characters he's played in the past, he's played a Canterlot guard.
Please tell us.
Yeah, he's played a Canterlot guard.
He says he has a lead who took our daughter. We must.
And I'd say he does a pretty good job with voicing this old stallion. Although he did have quite a few bloopers.
The demon down below has your daughter.
Demon down below?
You know the goddesses.
I think the original line actually had the names of the goddesses, but the takes didn't really pronounce them right. I should have been like, hey, you need to pronounce these names right, but I didn't really get around to doing that, but it's fine. Oh, and hey! The amulet returns! Yes, it is the same amulet that Hexar has that, stores all his power. I don't know if anyone caught that the first time they were watching this episode and think, hey, why does this stallion have Hexar's amulet? Are they one and the same?
So much, kind sir.
It was my honor to help you, your majesties.
I don't know about this. This seems a little suspicious.
At first, we must give it a try. Our daughter's life.
Those lines were featured in the official trailer, but they were not, muffled like that. Psych! The old stallion was Hexar all along. Yeah, that was... Yeah, I'll just continue on now. Alright, continuing with our new artists. This next art is done by Sophia May. And she has a pretty cute style. Oh yeah, that Dad, where are you? That bit was that echoed in the end of episode 5. And since I had already recorded my lines for episode 6 before episode 5 came out, I was like, good opportunity.
Oh, don't mind me.
And then we have the instrumental of What Is My Happiness playing in the background.
Today is going to be very special. Do you know
But
why?
yeah, they have been, she's been down in Nether Equestria for about a week. And yes, this is before the goddesses put a time spell on the ground to make everything slower down there. So yeah, it was still a week on the surface and down below.
I was doing before you woke up.
Can't wait to see them again and prove that I have what it takes to become a great ruler. Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
And he actually sounds regretful because he actually has a soft spot for his daughter now, which is very sweet. And then we have MCRX Solidarity's art, which is cute, as usual.
You have the power to get rid of sadness.
Get rid of sadness? Like, making
That's one way of putting it. It's more like
Now,
taking the despair from someone doesn't necessarily mean getting rid of sadness.
on me,
Are you sure? Won't you get hurt?
I should be fine.
More
Besides,
likely
these
putting
were
them in like
and we're the only
a
ones
mindscape of despair whilst you take the despair from them. It really doesn't make that much sense.
Did it work?
Nothing happened. Try again.
Okay. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
And I also have to point out the scaling that MCRX Solidarity has done with Philly Tenebrae and Hexa. It's kind of funny how much taller she is in this style,
Since you spent so much time up on the surface, your element is disappearing.
even though in reality she like only comes up to
Sisters is making my
like his elbow or something, like his arm.
Happiness up on the surface. Doing so will decrease your powers over time.
And you can't really hear it that much, but this is the start of the longest instrumental soundtrack I've had so far, Bittersweet of Betrayal. And it's pretty much a pun. Like, I mix bittersweet with sweet of betrayal, and there you get it.
Dad, what are you doing?
Yeah, there you get the title for this soundtrack. And I think it was actually the last soundtrack I worked on for this episode because I wanted to wait until all of the audio was done for this specific section.
This looks pretty dangerous. Celestia and Luna, you wait here till we get back.
But we want to see Tenebrae safe. We're her family too.
And then Flutterose actually managed to say her name right that time.
Face it together.
I keep giving her stick about it, but... oh dear.
It's a family. Underground, inside his
There is my
lair.
take on the amulet.
Take us to face despair.
Little did they know it was a trap.
Tenebrae!
Poor Tenebrae.
Let it go, demon.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Your Majesties. For your daughter, or rather, my daughter, is where she finally belongs.
I always love the growls that Equestria Exploration does for Hexa. Kind of makes him like a beast of some kind, which really fits him.
Because of you that she feels this pain.
And I absolutely loved how that line was delivered, that I'm like, ooh, definitely trailer worthy.
I thought when she doubted whether she truly belonged in your family was proof enough that she was ready. But I was sadly mistaken.
And we've got a piano version of the part I play, playing in the background, like a minor version of it.
She'll be doing what she has been born to do.
We told you to let her go!
Relax. She'll be ready for you soon enough.
Oh boy. I'm really excited to talk about this next part, guys. Animation! Right, so this animation was done by Equestria Exploration, and let's just say that when I saw their animations for Lighter Shade of Crimson, I was like, ooh, I need to get them on board to do some animations for me sometime. And this is the result. They have done such an amazing job with this scene, and I was speechless. Like, every single time I watch this. And this shot right there is why I had to put the scary warning.
Dear
And there are a lot of people that were confused about, like, why couldn't Hesperus and Aurora just fend for themselves? The most recent page of the comic, Fourth Darkness of Free Lights, actually explains that Hesperus and Aurora are canonically weaker than their daughters. Because while they used their power to break Hexar's curse off the ponies kind of forgot about them. Well, up until they would discover friendship again and the Wendigos and then... yeah, all that stuff.
Good for nothing goddesses doing in my
Now this art is done by Skylight Glow.
stays with me.
And she's done a little bit of a style change. Kind of like doing what I usually do for my art. With the outlines to be like the same color as the body or whatever. It's a bit hard to describe, but usually she does like black outlines. But for this scene, she didn't do that.
The old stallion we looked after before he vanished. That was you?
There's the bombshell.
Oh yes, now I remember. That was the king and queen of Equestria that tended to my every need. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't be standing here.
You two helped him?
We didn't know at the time. He just looked like an old stallion who needed help.
Yes. And look where that
I love that expression.
messing with a demon is
Because he definitely looks very sinister with that.
Wait, what are you doing?
We're taking everyone back safely, and we want them to be as far away from you as possible.
That won't be of any use to you, dear sisters. My spell on Tenebrae can't be broken with your magic. So by the minute she wakes up, she'll go back to attacking the royals.
We'll find a way, Hexar. In the meantime, you must never use your magic again to harm them.
That's what you think. But then a whole bunch of events will just
Tenebrae will
spiral into Tenebrae's downfall.
Are you sure this is the right thing?
We can't take
Oh
any
yes,
risks.
this is
If we
the
erase their
second
memories of
scene
this past
by
year, Tenebrae should
Sophia
be safe
May.
for now. However, I can't reverse the effects of the component Hexar put on her. They'll come back to curse her
But this
again.
pretty much explains how Tenebrae got the power to collect
Hopefully it'll work
grief.
again.
She was cursed by her dad. And all this time, because the goddesses erased her memory, she just thought that it was a destined thing. Like, you know, going through puberty, that sort of thing. Just something that just happens by itself.
To protect Equestria.
It should hold up for now. The fewer ponies who know about our brother, the better.
And then Lumina put a time spell on the ground, and then that's when that happens.
What are we doing out here?
I can't seem to remember.
Were we celebrating because I got my cutie mark earlier?
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Luna and Celestia have their tiaras, even though they weren't really supposed to have them on there. Maybe the goddesses secretly put them on. I don't know.
Taking a nap out here.
Everyone has their theories.
I feel like I'm forgetting something important.
Tenebrae! It's time for bed, sweetheart.
Coming, Mother.
Yeah, Tenebrae is forgetting something important. But, that memory will not come back to her for several hundred years.
Luna! Celestia! We're
And
heading
this is the
off.
second scene by Cara Pop Studios. And,
About a week or so.
as explained in Tenebrae's backstory,
All right then.
Aurora and Hesperus went on
Be
a
good
lot
luck
of
for golf.
royal
We will.
expeditions, so they had to go to several treaties to different countries, and they would leave the two sisters by themselves a long period of time.
I'm not in the mood for pancakes. Can we go to the bakery to get something smaller?
You're not hungry?
And this is where
Important meal of the day.
Tenebrae's
Just go to the bakery.
villain arc kind of
Chocolate
starts in a way.
We can do that. That's right. And it was that day we went to the bakery, and I began to collect grief from everyone and never knew what was causing it.
And then we go to the present day, and Nisty is just shocked beyond belief.
Time with you, naive to who you really were. I remember attacking my family from someone.
And playing in the background is the next film type soundtrack. Anger Takes Over. And I actually bring back the melody of Diagnosed, which was a track from The Color Goddess. And what's really cool about it is kind of like I have the cello playing in one tempo and one key, then the viola playing in another tempo and another key, and then pizzed violins playing in another tempo and another key, so it just sounds really... It puts you... it has a bit of uneasiness, let's just say. That's what I was trying to say.
It was the only way for my component to charge properly.
My life could have.
And this scene, I actually had a lot of fun editing together, because this is the scene where Misty finally lashes out at Hexar. Well deservedly. She's had all this pent up sadness and anger. So she actually tries to kill him.
I did what I had to succeed in my beliefs.
I had no right being your
And I guess the magic aura kind of looks like that because she's got it at full strength. Then we have the second scene done by MCRX Solidarity in the mindscape of Rainbow Dash and Grizzier.
Misty Tenebrae, aka you, is trapped with me. Something has awakened, dear Rainbow Dash. Let's just say that not all of Tenebrae was destroyed by the Sword of Destruction. And it only took a certain memory to possibly bring her back. No! Misty!
And what is glowing in Liako's pocket? It wasn't really properly explained, but Liako grabbed the gems and she put them in her pockets. And the one that's glowing right now is Nisty's gem, and it's showcasing that something terrible is happening to Rainbow Dash right now.
Misty needs to stop! Any more anger could force my power on you faster as well as herself? Exactly.
Misty, you need to step out of your anger.
Why should I?
Oh my gosh, I loved voicing this scene so much. And then she slowly turns back into Tenebrae.
Oh no.
She's turning back into Tenebrae? How do we make her snap out of it? I'm afraid we can't. She's so consumed.
And I actually bring back a theme from the Heart Shell, which is the music box piece, The Watch.
You also change.
And then adding the melody of Your Pain Is Mine.
No! I can't let this happen to me! This, you need to stop! She cannot hear you.
And that is my, well, now it's an even better scream than the one I did for Rainbow at the end of TCG Episode 7. I decided to outdo myself this time.
Let's fully charge despair with your outburst.
Let's see, and then this is the second scene done by P2 MLP's Adventure.
Quite frankly, I'm impressed.
I could have hurt Rainbow. But she reached out to me to snap out of it.
You almost turned back into Tenebrae. All because your memory came back.
And there's some symbolism about why her arm didn't turn back.
Also impressed that your half of despair.
But why I chose her right arm, I have no idea. But pretty much the memory came back.
Did I forget?
And so I guess she can't really keep her current form for long. She's kind of been like holding back on the anger and despair now, ever since that memory came back to her. And what am I saying? What I'm saying is, now that the memory has returned to her, I guess Hexar's curse has taken effect again.
You should have figured it out by now. You were one of my apprentices. Therefore, you had to carry out what they represent.
Like Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Sombra? They always had those traits in them. Why did Sephiroth, Luna, Discord, Rainbow, and I have to suffer?
And then there's Nisty being a bit closed-minded again. And that was actually brought up in episode 4 of The Demon's Daughter. Like, she was questioning why, Chrysalis, Sombra, and Tyrek, oh, they're fine. Yeah, they were born with those powers. And then everyone else, why did they have to suffer? And then this is when we actually have Hexar's motives properly explain themselves.
All of my apprentices started as innocents.
His goal was never to take over Equestria. His goal was to create balance. And that is further explained in the comic Fourth Darkness of Three Lights, because he felt like he was kind of forcing the ponies to be happy all the time against his will by his sisters. And so that was pretty much his motive, but he's definitely going about it the wrong way.
That makes no sense.
It does, actually. Huh? In my grandfather's
And then we have
letter,
images from episode 3.
as to why a griffin or a dragon couldn't be the apprentice.
And the journal part comes back full circle.
Remember that my father, your sister, Discord, and you never started evil? According to Hexar's logic, neither did Sombra, Chrysalis, or Tyrek.
And that would mean that Liako has a point. And she is agreeing with Hexar.
Some chose to keep it, while others fought to have it erased.
Your friend here is correct. Here you are, seeing black.
And this soundtrack playing in the background is You Had to Be ... happy. And it first played in the official trailer for episode 6. But it was actually in a different key. I kind of pitched it down. And then we have the return of these images, which of course, as you know, were first done by Rolly Arts for the opening.
Discord had to have fun. Luna had to be humble. Sephiroth had to be generous. And you, Tenebrae, had to be happy.
And then here is the second part of the scene that I had to fill in because it was quite a long scene. Whoops. I also have a habit of like doing like the reflections moving. I watch too much anime. I get inspired by anime a lot, and that, you know, that's shown in anime all the time. So I'm like, hey, why not I do that?
Not in the way my sisters described it to you.
How do you see peace, Hexar? Is peace
And then we have some old images. This image behind her is from the Heart Shell. I think Heart Shell episode 5. And then we've got the fire backdrop from the outro.
That's not how I see peace.
And then you can hear my vocals in that soundtrack now, singing Tenebrae. Peripsum et cum dolor et non fugient. First had that in the Demon Caves. That soundtrack that first appeared in the Heart Shell episode 7. So, Hexar's logic is that he pretty much toughened Equestria up. By supplying everyone with villains, then there would be heroes and yada yada yada. And then Nisty manages to break Liako free. Is it because she has the same equal powers? I guess because she's also an apprentice of Hexar, she has the same powers. So any apprentice of Hexa would be able to break through that cell.
Hurry, Liako.
I loved Equestria Exploration's acting. Because Hexa gets uncharacteristically loud in that scene.
Chrysalis. Tyrek. Sombra.
Yes. And then we have Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Sombra.
I hope you got punished for leaving halfway through our song. We rehearsed for weeks in preparation for your pathetic dinner party. And this is the thanks we get.
That line that Pretty Pexus Wings did with, we rehearsed that for weeks. That was another improv line by her. And now I can't think of this is the thanks I get without... Oh gosh, the Wish soundtrack. Ugh. And I also, I have been getting better at drawing Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Sombra the more I've drawn them, but I'm lucky I didn't have to draw them in an animatic this time. Like, in a proper animatic. They're still in an animatic, but just, they don't appear as much. Because there's so much details with all of their designs. And of course, Lightning Spirit VA had a lot of improv with that line as well. And all the other lines that she did as Tyrek.
Used to be respectable kings, queens, and lords. He gave you greater power, but at the expense of respect to your kingdoms. Ludicrous! Didn't any of you have anyone that supported you when you were different? Who loved you before you turned to Hexar's side? No one!
And that is a lie. We have Radiant Hope, played by Falcinda.
I'm sorry.
We have Prince Thornroot, played by Firehearth. And finally, we have Scorpan, played by Bill N.
Don't you think we're doing more harm than good?
And the art here is done by Marianne Studios.
For me, it was a pony called Radiant.
And this is the moment where Nisty is not as close-minded. When she gets told that Hexa had all of his apprentices start out as being good, but gradually turned evil from his influence. Which I think is even more messed up. His vision of harmony and peace is actually of destruction, but that's how he sees it, so...
I never wanted to love again.
You can tell that I didn't want Hexar to be your stereotypical villain.
For me, it was my brother. He wanted to go see the world and encourage me to come.
And then when I was writing this part in the script, I kept reminding myself of that Stick Pony video, that original song I did for Round a couple of years ago, called The Ballad of Lord Tyrek. And in the Stick Pony version, Scorpan kind of betrayed Tyrek because he lost his ability to speak English properly.
And never saw him again.
But that isn't the case here, obviously.
That those that meant the most of you are no longer in your lives. That you never could revert back to your original forms.
And why would we? We've gained so much
I think
power.
this might be a bias, but I actually love the dynamic that Chrysalis, Tyrek, and Sombra have here than the actual Season 9 finale. Well, also, Hexar isn't Discord in disguise. He's an actual, threatening villain. So maybe this whole audio drama was just a redo of Season 9 of MLP. I guess it just kind of ended up like that, in a way. But that wasn't really my main intention.
I'm afraid it's too late for that.
Please tell us that in this awakening, we get to wreak havoc on Equestria once and for all.
No, don't do it. You're just falling into his trap.
Oh, shut it.
Oh dear. Okay, so we are getting into the third and final song of episode 6. The one where Equestria Exploration sings by themselves. And might have to be one of my favorite villain songs I've done, to be honest. And you can't have a Musescript audio drama without having at least one song that has lullaby in it. Like, first you've got Little Dashi, and then you have Dira's lullaby and the Color Goddess, and now you have this. And yeah, this is back in the flashback. I guess this is the lullaby that he would sing to little Tenebrae so she could fall asleep. And I absolutely love the contrast in the verses. Like this first verse and chorus, he's just singing really softly because he's trying to get Tenebrae to sleep. I think the melody for this evolved from something I composed back in 2012 that I recycled. Some of my songs and instrumental soundtracks do be like that. If I'm trying to find a melody to use, I'll be like, oh hey, here's this thing I composed back in 2012 that I've never released. Let's use that. And yeah, Hexar doesn't have any like magical aura like unicorns would. So anything he kind of uses with magic just kind of floats in midair. But I guess if he's, you know, using lasers, then his magic would be red. And then I guess Nisty remembers that lullaby now, which is even more messed up. And then I love how the instrumental builds up, and Hexar is no longer singing soft. He's building his vocals up bit by bit. And then we have all of the apprentices shining in the gem of the amulet. There are so many layers into drawing Hexar, like the armor and everything. I had a separate layer for his fire hair that it could move. And this took me forever to draw. Just, you know, drawing all of the apprentices took a while. I'd say that for Hexar's solo song, Equestria did a really good job in bringing that to life. And then we've got the choir version of Our Poor Brother playing in the background.
This is what I'm talking about. Soon, they will be able to feel our wrath again.
No one stands a chance, especially with our friends.
And then we have the last section of the episode when everything goes downhill. And Discord and Luna go into the dark side along with King Sephiroth.
Please don't turn back.
Your Majesty.
No, they're moving too fast.
And then this was all layer animation.
Luna!
And I love this transition.
I won't let you get away with
from one mindscape to the next.
It's too late. It's time for you to become the new.
And Grizio's mouth is shown. And then we have the very last scene, which I think was originally supposed to be done by Rolly Arts, but I had to take over. Very last minute. So from this point to the end of the episode, it took me an entire day to work on.
I'll teleport us out of here.
Look out!
And then R.I.P. Nisty's hair.
Alas, whole 7
This shot right here took me several hours to draw. It's because all of the villains here take so long to draw. And then that concludes that scene. And we've got a glitchy image yet again, and then to be concluded. And for the outro song, I think, yeah, we've got the soundtrack that played in the previous episode's outro as well. So let's see, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 10 scenes. 10 freaking scenes I had to draw for this episode. And a couple of them, I was kind of finishing off other people's scenes. Oh well. This time though, like from episode 7, we've got a whole lot more artists that are helping out. And hopefully you might see some of the new artists in either teaser trailers or sneak peeks, or, you know, whatever comes first. As long as they're, you know, as long as they have a scene that doesn't really spoil too much. But I do want to give my new artists a shout out when those videos arrive. And then we've got an animation shout out. We've got animation by That's Lovely and Equestria Exploration. They did an awesome job. I'm very pleased. And then we have the animatics that I did. 3 whole songs. And they were only done by me and Equestria Exploration respectively. There were a lot of characters in this episode. Shout out to all of my amazing voice actors. I'm sorry, P, there was no blue streak. No genie shenanigans to be found here. And yeah, I took over the thumbnail again. And then I have final episode is balance. And then it just kind of zooms up. And then that's where it ends. Oh my gosh. This episode was amazing to work on, and all of my VAs and artists did such an amazing job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys were amazing. And you can understand why this episode took so long to come out. It's a freaking hour long, guys. Which actually makes it the second longest audio drama episode that I have done. The longest episode still is the Color Goddess episode 9, which was like an hour and 15 minutes in length. This episode was an hour and 2 minutes in length, but I can confirm that episode 7 of The Demon's Daughter, aka the finale, is gonna be, it's probably gonna be the longest one. It's probably gonna be even longer than the Color Goddess finale. We shall see. I've got a lot that I still am, you know, excited to explore and reveal, because there are still some mysteries and Easter eggs and all that stuff. And I can also say that there are a couple of things to get excited about in June. I can confirm this now. On the 8th of June is when I'll be releasing the proper dub, the full dub of Fourth Darkness of Three Lights to honor the Demon's Daughter's 2nd anniversary. Oh my gosh. Soon this audio drama would be going on for 2 years. That's insane. Although not as insane as The Color Goddess. That went on for like 3.5 years. But don't worry. The Demon's Daughter is not going on for that long. No. And also hype-worthy, a week after I release the Fourth Darkness of Three Lights comic dub, I'm going to be releasing the first sneak peek for episode 7. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled. There's gonna be 5 shorts that are going to appear between episode 6 and episode 7, and they'll be appearing somewhat monthly, and they're about 8 minutes in length, maybe. I mean, I haven't really properly edited the order for Fourth Darkness of Three Lights yet, as at the time I'm recording this, so I don't really know how long it's going to be, but it's pretty much an estimate of. They're shorts. Yeah, not the clothing, but just they're just gonna be short. So keep in mind that I'll probably make a habit like a week after each of the shorts comes out, I'll probably have something hype-worthy like a teaser or a trailer or a sneak peek for episode 7 to get you guys hyped. And the hiatus between episode 6 and episode 7 is not going to be as long as episode 8 and episode 9 of The Color Goddess. So you don't need to worry about that. Episode 7 of The Demon's Daughter is definitely still coming out in 2024, but like I'm aiming for really late 2024. I won't say what month yet. I think I'll reveal the month when the teaser trailer comes out, and then that'll hype you guys up even more. Anyways, I have been talking for a long time. Yeah, I should probably stop talking now and let you guys get on with your day. Thank you for listening to my director's commentary for those who have tuned in. And artists, if I missed any Easter eggs that I didn't really talk about, let me know and I'll make a note of that. Anyways, yes, look forward to all the hype-worthy Nistverse stuff coming out. And I'll see you all later. Bye! This is Musescript signing out.